My name's Heath Steen. I'm here today to talk about Pat Taaffe. I met Pat about 4 years ago when I came to Station 12 as a newly promoted captain, and I was looking for some guys I could lean on for support in that new role. My first day with him, he pulled me aside and gave me his story. He wanted me to know about the path that had brought him to St. Johns County Fire Rescue. He wanted me to know where we stood with each other from the first day. Pat had been a backseat fireman and an engineer, a driver operator, and an officer in a couple of other departments. He had experience, and he could have held all that experience over my head, but he didn't. He asked how he could help, and that's how he's been ever since. He's basically been my right-hand man for the last 4 years. Pat's one of those guys that gets out to a fire conference or two every year just to keep his skills up. Still, after 21 years on the job, he's still trying to get out there and better himself. He also has a knack for making dramatic rescues. In 2009, Pat was awarded the Firefighter of the Year for saving multiple victims in the ocean on a rescue paddleboard. In 2015, he was the lead rescuer on an incident where a vehicle had been submerged in the water for over 10 minutes upon their arrival. At night, in the bottom of a retention pond on the off-ramp of I-95, with minimal rescue gear and no scuba equipment, Pat's crew successfully rescued the man in that vehicle. Pat's real story began about a year and a half ago. In August 2015, he was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. The cancer was a baseball-sized tumor on his colon and had spread to his lymph nodes and his liver. We were devastated to hear that news. So that's where we got to know the real Pat. Pat made the decision to fight and win. He started 12 weeks of chemotherapy that fall, took a few weeks off to recover, and then went into surgery. I had dinner with Pat at a restaurant, just the two of us, a couple nights before surgery. We didn't know if the operation would be successful or not, but we both talked pretty openly. But Pat kept asking about me, what's going on in my life, what's going on with my family, how are my buddies. He'd ask about my kids. Here he is in the midst of his own tragedy, and he's thinking selflessly about others. And that's how he was throughout his entire treatment. After the surgery, Pat had a second round, another 16 weeks of chemo. Throughout his entire treatment, he kept in touch. "You better not fill my spot. I'm coming back," Pat would say. Pat took a building construction class with a chemo pump attached to himself. That's the kind of guy he is. Pat wanted to get back to the street, and he was determined to make it happen. And guess what? On May 27, 2016, 9 months after he was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, 1 month after finishing his last chemo treatment, Pat was back on the engine. Pat's career-long dream has been to attend FDIC, and for one reason or another, that hasn't happened yet. If anyone possesses the character that one would look for when being considered for an FDIC scholarship, it's Pat Taaffe. He's a fighter, loves to train, loves the fire service, and is highly motivated to bring knowledge and skills from conferences he attends back to his home. I'd ask that you please consider Pat Taaffe for this year's Honeywell FDIC Scholarship Award. Thank you for your time. Stay safe.